So today we are dealing with your joy, protecting your joy for the holidays. Okay. Now, there are three types of biblical joy I want to get into, but I can already tell we only have time for like two. So I'm gonna go as far as we can go because I want to show you what God showed me. So we're gonna look at what's inside these two types of joy. We'll deal with the other one next week, and we'll look at how to take advantage of both of them in the holidays. And we're gonna bring up a trusty tool that we believe in at this church because you're just going to need it if you're going to protect your joy. But first, let me ask you a question. Now, do you know that you can have people that you love that create anxiety and confusion in your life? Okay. Okay. Yeah, I can. They're nodding, so I know they know. And since you're dealing with life like us, I know you are too. Some of those people might be contentious family members. Like whenever they start talking, everything is always bad, always wrong, always off. Some of them could be narcissistic family members. They only ever see life from what it does to them. Some of them are self centered family members. Everything is about what they want always. Some of them are anxious family members, right? Because their anxiety fills up the room and drags everybody with it. Some are just lazy. They just don't give as much as the rest of the family, right? And you guys could probably add to this list. And this type of stuff can steal your joy. But now you're dealing with God, and then He tells you you have a right to something. And if you'll notice in your relationship, once God tells you you have a right to something, just like when He tells you He wants you to do something, He expects you to use it come hell or high water. This is what I find about God as a father. So then I'm looking, I'm like, why would you tell us that we could have joy when we have all these problems that so easily steal our joy? Right? Which means we've got to understand what He said we could have and then the key to protecting it. Because each type of joy is linked to something different. Okay, let's go. Go to Nehemiah 8 and 10. Nehemiah 8 and 10. Nehemiah said, "Go and enjoy choice food and sweet drinks, and send some to those who have nothing prepared. The day is holy to our Lord. Do not grieve, for the joy of the Lord is your strength." So, for those of you who don't know Nehemiah, Nehemiah was the one who worked. He was in the Persian kingdom. That's where he lived. That's where he worked. That's where he grew. But he was from Jerusalem. That's his generation. That's his legacy. And he was the one who orchestrated the rebuilding of the wall. He was the one for the Bible people that dealt with Sanballat and Tobias, the people who would talk about him and try to make him mess up and try to keep it from happening. That's who Nehemiah was. He was the one, if you remember, at the beginning of the pandemic, we talked about building a wall with one hand and holding your weapons with the other. You've got sometimes there are seasons when you have to defend yourself even while you build what God is telling you to build. That's who Nehemiah was. He was the man that was orchestrating all of that. Now he stands here and he says, "The joy of the Lord is your strength." He says, "Do not grieve because the joy of the Lord is your strength." What you have to understand was that it is one thing when you have all the money, all the houses, all the cars, all the stuff, no worry. Everyone does everything the way you want it done. And then you stand there and you say, "The joy of the Lord is my strength." It is another thing when you have begun to do what God asked you to do and you are seeing it work. But even as you work, you know, when we finish this, we got more to do and more to do and more to do. In this man says, "The joy of the Lord is your strength." So this is what strong joy looks like. Now, here's the thing we have to understand that whenever you look at strong joy, it's tied to a relentless vision if we're going to learn from Nehemiah. Okay? When Nehemiah heard the state of his city, he caught a vision for it being healed, for it being restored, for it being better tomorrow than it is today. Because we're going to be praying all the way through this. Your assignment is to catch a vision for your family, right? For it to be better tomorrow than it is today, for it to be stronger. Even if you think it's all good, you tap into God because He's a Father. He will be constantly growing and drawing better out of you. So whenever he heard about what had happened to Jerusalem, he immediately had a vision for it being restored. And when he went to work on that vision, he had to be relentless in order for it to happen. And that relentless vision puts him in this moment where he says, the joy of the Lord is your strength. If you're going to have the kind of joy, strong joy, because in this word, strong was referring to the kind of joy that is a refuge for you, the kind of joy you can hide in. Have you ever been around people that are upset and stressed, and y'all all have a right to be upset and stressed, yet you find a moment to laugh? You find a moment that brings you joy? That's the kind of joy you can hide in. That even when all hell breaks loose, when everything is crazy enough to make you crazy, you can go step into God's joy and hide there for a minute. When you step into strong joy, even in chaos, you know He'll restore you. Even while everything around you is falling apart, He will restore you. With God, everything doesn't have to be perfect in order for you to be renewed, restored, and rejoicing. Okay, now there's a key to that, because you have to understand that if this man, in the middle of executing the vision that God gave him, tapped into strong joy, that joy had a lot to do with him completing the assignment. You're going to need strong joy if you are going to do whatever God has called you to do for a lifetime. See what I'm saying? And if you're willing to stick with what God gave you and use the resources He gave you to complete what He has assigned you, if you're willing to do it forever, you won't have to do it forever. But if you don't tap into strong joy, you will tap out before God is done with you. And He's not through with you. Look at this. Look at this. The strong joy. Whenever it says the joy of the Lord is my strength, right? That strength also means that it's a stronghold. When something is a stronghold, in the negative way, when we say it's a stronghold, it's attached to you. You can't get away from it. You can't get it off of you. So the kind of joy that Nehemiah is talking to you about is the kind of joy that is attached to you. That you can't get away from this joy, that you can't get this joy off of you. Right? So then you're standing in a moment where the money looks funny, right? And then you find you're tapping into that strong joy. If your job leaves you against your will, you need to tap into that strong joy. Because if you don't tap into that strong joy, then you'll come up into a strong depression, and that's always going to give you bad ideas. That's always going to slow you down. See, things that are meant to destroy you, if you will let God get a hold of them, what do? They strengthen you. They build you up. Right? So when you tap into that strong joy, that means this situation could have taken you out, but you're taking it to God, and what's going to happen is He's going to take it to put strength in you. Okay? All right? Because I want you to see it, and I don't want you to miss what He has for you. That strength. This is, and I'm digging into this word. The way it's said in that verse is it's mayos. So that's what that strength is. The other thing that's in this word is a fortress. So when He's saying your strength, you could literally say the joy of the Lord is your fortress. Right? So when it's your fortress, y'all understand how fortresses are built? Like, we live in a different time, than the beginning of life, you know what I'm saying, for humans. But the way a fortress is built, it is designed so that someone could stand at the front and see the enemy coming long before the enemy could get close enough to hit you. A fortress is built so that whenever they try to hit you, they got to deal with the fortress before they deal with you. Right? Their arrows, their stuff, it touches the metal, the wood, the building, the wall before it touches you. This was why it was so important what Nehemiah was doing, rebuilding the wall of Jerusalem. He was rebuilding protection for the city. Okay? So then that's you. When you tap into strong joy, that's what you're doing. You're giving God the permission to rebuild the protection of your heart. See, before we get to the bigger work, which is what you do in your family and for your family, then the next level of work is what you do, in your community, on your job. Before we get there, we have to go really intimate, because God is a father, and based on what life has been like, it can cause us to misunderstand it. So I want you to understand one of the gifts he gives you is strong joy because he's a father. The first joy he cares about is the one that's happening with just you in an empty room by yourself. When you are dealing with what you need and whatever pain you have been suffering through, God cares about that. So when he starts trying to get strong joy to you, he wants to build a fortress around the things that try to break you. He wants to build a fortress around your heart. This is what I've learned about God. When you let him do that, you can have pain, or people can have damaged you so long ago that it is a part of your personality now. And do you know you don't age out on God's healing? Now, you may continue to choose to reject it, or you may not be exposed to the answer to give you deliverance, but you don't age out on him wanting the best for you. You're not less important than everyone else that you care about. This is what I love about God. Because he is omnipresent, he can be there intimately for you just the way you need him, for you just the way you need him, for me just the way I need him. So you don't have to look at somebody else's relationship and be jealous. If you say, I don't know God like that, let's go know him like that. Because he cares about your situation. Right? So then whatever you are, because depending on what type of church you've been in, one sex will suffer for the other. And God is not like that. God shows up for men, meets them at the point of their needs, strengthens them, builds them up, ministers to them, softens them when they need it, just because that's his Adam. And he shows up the same way for Eve, in the way that she needs it. Strengthens her, softens her when she needs it, builds her up, right? But that's because that's his Eve. He cares. If you will, it's just in there. The way he treats man and the way he treats woman, he cares. It's intimate. Even when man and woman mistreat each other, God always gets in the middle and reminds you, that's my man. That's my woman. Right? He has strong joy for each of you. Look at this. Look at this. The last thing that's in there is it says the word means a place of protection. This is what it is when we say the joy of the Lord is my strength. So I want you to know when you say that simple phrase, that beautiful phrase, a phrase that people who don't even know God say, because it's a common phrase, I just want you to know everything that's in it. And if you know everything that's in it, then when you say it, I want you to own it like a declaration. Right? Because when you declare a thing, you are literally saying, this is how it's going to be for me and for my life. Right? David did a declaration, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. So there's power in it, because when you put your faith and you speak that faith out of your mouth, you know what happens? God sends agents to go to work to turn your faith into a reality down here. See, when you speak the faith of what God says he'll give you, that's what's real. That's the truth. Right? But sometimes the facts get in the way. If you will declare God's best for your life, understand he will put heaven to work to help that become a reality for your life. So the joy of the Lord is your strength. Right? That I'm praying that word over you. The joy of the Lord is your strength during this holiday and into the new year. And when you are dealing with your most difficult person, I pray that your spirit be overwhelmed with this truth. The joy of the Lord is your strength. And no one gets to take that away from you. I mean, no one. Not exes, not dramas, not yesterdays, not these dead people in the grave and the words that they said that mess with you. Not even the grief of losing the ones you wanted. Right? Because the joy of the Lord is your strength. Now, your first assignment this week is that's what you're to say every day. In the mirror. Look in the mirror, talk to that person, and tell that person, the joy of the Lord is my strength. Say it and own it. And walk that out, because you ever notice how the best things in life you have to fight for? Wouldn't it be nice if everything was always easy? Yeah, she knows a lot. She did not say yes. You know why? Because when you start looking at people, I know people where everything was easy. You know what happens when everything is easy? You don't respect what you have the same. You don't value it the same. See, like I used to wonder, because I've been with God a long time, and I used to wonder, well, I like the daytime, so what'd you invent night for? I mean, my God, can't we just have? Then I go to Alaska. Ooh, child, I missed the night. You know what I'm saying? I like living on the second floor and above. My brain, because I was young, why we even gotta have a first floor? Right? All these things you say, why you make it where in order for things to grow, we also need rain. The sunny days are more fun. But the reality is, if there is no night, you don't respect the day. He designed you where you actually have to lay down and enter into rest. The night reminds you, stop doing everything. Lay down. You are the most defenseless when you are asleep. Right? I might as well be close to God because I can't cover myself. God, you cover me. Right? If there is no rain, you don't respect the sun. Right? So whenever we walk through rain, when the sun comes out, it makes you be like, let's go enjoy this day before the rain. Shoot, some days, y'all know I enjoy the rain. I'll put on my rain boots. But the highs and lows of it, the changes, the differences, it makes you value it. There's a reason why he gave us choice. We're not the first things that God created, but we are the ones that were given choice. I had someone, she used to pray for God to take her choice away. The condition of being human is he won't. Now, we might give it away, but he won't take it. That's our gift, right? You know why it matters? Because when you can choose, then what you choose matters more. When you get to make a decision, if you choose to love God, it matters more. It means something different because you said no to that and then you said yes to him. It's the same thing when you're out here living. You've got the family that's been given to you, the one you did not choose. But make no mistake, ma'am, my heart is also for the ones that you chose. The children that you chose to love, or as we would do it, that would choose us back. The mate that you choose to marry. You see what I'm saying? Like these choices right here, they mean something. Right? And whenever you're doing that, you're getting a taste of what's happening between you and God. Because he's watching you not choose him. And it hits your heart differently. You're like, they want me. They want me. Right? It shifts everything. I just want you to see what God has for you. Listen, people are trying to get joy, right, while doing nothing. But in Nehemiah's situation, his joy, this particular type of joy, strong joy, was tied to a relentless vision. He got clarity about what his future should look like for him and his nation. And then he went to work to get it done. And in the middle of that, that joy showed up. So as you get clarity about what your family should look like, and be clear, it has to be a God idea in order for the joy to come at the end. Because if we chase only our ideas, sometimes we have the wrong timing, the wrong plan, the wrong strategy, the wrong team. But the perfect plan has the God factor. When you check, this is God. That's on God. That's where God wants my family to be. That's the kind of woman that God wants me to be. That's the kind of man that God wants me to be. And you can't stop there because a woman is a woman. But you have to, what kind of mother do you want me to be, God? What kind of daughter do you want me to be? See, a man is a man, but you can't stop there. What kind of son do you want me to be? Right? You're asking, you're getting him involved. What kind of leader do you want me to be? You're bringing him into it. Because just by you praying those prayers, you're creating an opportunity for God to bring a different type of vision to you for your life. And only in the vision that comes from God are you going to find the strong joy, the kind of joy that you can trust. Okay, when we go shopping and we get something we want, doesn't it make us feel good? We feel joy. The joy goes up if you buy it for me instead of me buying it for me, right? We feel joy. But the joy in the things that we buy, how long does it last? Like for most of us, it don't last long, if you're going to be honest. Like you can look at your kids at Christmas, but you just as bad, right? We had to have it. Then you get it, and even though it's serving a purpose, it's old within a year. Shoot, it's old within 6 months. I remember my first car. I'm paying the car note. I wrote thank you on the check for 2 solid years. Thank you so much. Every check, because it stayed new. Do you think that my payments on the rest of my cars have been like that? Not like that at all, because now it's old news. Whenever the joy comes from God's stuff, what did it say? Strong joy means it's a stronghold. It sticks to you. It won't get off of you. That kind of joy, the strong joy, is lasting. This is why you got to understand it. Nehemiah rebuilt that wall all those millennia ago, right? All these years ago. We're still talking about it and rejoicing in the victory of it today. That strong joy, it still carries a legacy in it. Jesus brings joy to us, joy to the world. We're still talking about what he did now. So people get caught up, which day is his birthday? It's not December the 25th. What matters is that you stop and take a day and give it to him. And this is why we do the 25th together. The Bible says one can put 1,000 to flight, two can put 10,000 to flight. When we agree and just do it on the same day, there is the power of multiplied agreement. It will run hell back. But if you get confused and you pick a random day and you pick a random day, we don't have the power of agreement on his birthday anymore. If you think it's only about the shopping, we don't have the power of agreement. All these things are designed to distract you from God's strong joy for you. Understand, every Christmas holds gifts. We just get confused about the ones that have the greatest value. So I want to make sure this year you unwrap joy and then you enjoy it all the way through 2023. I want you to act like that car. When you get the car you want and it's the way you want it, right? You don't let people eat in it. You know how you do, right? Because it's nice and you want to keep it nice. I want you to treat that joy like that. This is my strong joy. You know what I'm saying? I'm riding with strong joy. Y'all can't be eating over my strong joy. You see what I'm saying? Because you're protecting it. Right? Because he's going somewhere with you. Don't miss this. Strong joy is tied to relentless vision. So if you suffer from not knowing what to do next, how we should move, start praying for the strong joy. Because the way God moves to get you to strong joy, he will start lining up everything you need in order to have strong joy. Let's go. Let's go, because I want to get to at least the second one. Well, I got to tell you this. The perfect plan always has at least 3 steps in it. 1, you roll your works on the Lord so that your plans will be established and succeed. You want to know that God is behind the plan. If he's behind the plan, come hell, come high water, because they are coming, you will still win. Example, well, no, I got to go because I want to get to the other place. The second thing, first sit down and count the cost, right? Count the cost whether you have enough to complete it. That's Luke 14 and 28. So if you're going to execute a plan, you got to do Proverbs 16. Roll your works, make sure God is behind it. You've got to count the cost. Make sure that you can finish what you started, right? That's just applied wisdom. And then number 3, Habakkuk 2 and 2. You've got to write the vision. Make it plain so that the people that read it, they can run with it. That means that people are able to help you, right? They're able to serve with you. They're able to help you make it a reality. 2 things. My mother had a vision for our household. And now when I look, it's a Proverbs 31 woman type of vision. Y'all know Proverbs 31, there's a Proverbs 31 man, but I'm talking about Proverbs 31 woman today. The other thing is we have a vision in this church. And y'all notice I can't teach and run everything in the back, right? Right? So there's a whole team back there. And once you get clear about what they need to do, you give it to them and you let them run it. I can stay out the booth because they got it, right? But that has to be a clear vision. They have to catch the vision of what we're trying to do in this space. In the house, Mom wanted peace in the house and she wanted it to run a certain way. So she actually talked to the 3 daughters that were in the house so we could catch a vision of the house. Right? You can't have joy in her house if it's nasty. So the vision was everybody got chores. So we don't have to be Cinderella because everybody got chores. When you catch that vision, if I do my week in the kitchen, I ain't got to be back until week 4. Right? When you catch the vision, there's calm, there's joy, there's peace in it. Sometimes you are struggling because you have a vision of where you want your family to go, and you haven't figured out how to share it so that they can run with you instead of fighting against you. This is what I love about God. He will show you the broken pieces and the missing pieces, and then he'll set you up to win. If you listen, okay, now look at this. So then that is our strong joy. The second joy I want you to see is morning joy. Go to Psalms 30, 4 through 5. This is another one where you hear it a lot. You hear them say, joy comes in the morning. Right? But let's look at verse 4. Sing to the Lord, O you saints of his, and give thanks at the remembrance of his holy name. For his anger is but for a moment, but his favor is for a lifetime. Or you could say, or in his favor is your life. Right? Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Now, how many of you have been upset at night and then still upset in the morning? We're just trying to be honest. Some of y'all find that joy in the morning without even trying hard. Me, I'm like, see, now what David talking about? Joy come in the morning. I'm still mad. So what this look like? So then you have to recognize it that it's a promise. And if I don't have it, but God promised it, I got a right to it. So then I need to go figure out what is in the way. Because morning joy, that junk feels good. When you have been beat down by the day, or all of the pain of all of your life catches up with you one night, you know those tears that you don't even want the people who love you the most to see, right? Well, it just sounds like you're dying. Y'all ever been on the bathroom floor and then you're like, I'm never getting up again? You're saying all of that stuff. And then when you wake up and it's brighter, that feels good. But that doesn't always meet us in the morning. So then you have to deal with whatever is trying to block your morning joy. So what we're establishing right now is you have a right to morning joy. So if anything gets in the way of morning joy, it is your spiritual assignment to fight for the promises of God in your life and be relentless about it. Now let me show you. In this song, David, because you know Psalms, he was singing and or chanting, right? David says, if you belong to God, then I want you to do 3 things. He says, I want you to sing to him. He says, I want you to remember his name. And then he says, I want you to give him thanks. I want you to understand that your morning joy is tied to some actions, which means you can do some things in the morning or even in the middle of the night to help the joy find you. Because what you need to understand again is that if all you thought was that David was a shepherd for his father and then he skipped into the kingdom and became the ruler, then it looked different. Y'all know how we do people? They born with a silver spoon. Why they talking? You know what I'm saying? Everything was easy. Whatever you didn't have, you think if other people have it, then their life was easy. So you got 1 parent, I got 2, so life was easy. You see what I'm saying? Your parent died when you were 17. Mine died at 39. Life was easy. Do it work? It don't work like that. Like, it don't work like that. In fact, the devil uses that to waste our time. Got us mean mugging each other, or to break it down as Daddy broke it down so well last week, caught up in competitive jealousy, that we don't even walk in the blessing. Because what is the Bible? It is a collection of people of faith. We are allowed to learn from their journey. This is why we see them when they win and we see them when they lose, because it builds our faith. In fact, the word says we overcome by the blood of the Lamb, which is what Jesus did, and the power of our testimony. It didn't say or, they go together. And so that means when you win and you share your testimony, it helps me to overcome. So whenever we hear about what Nehemiah went through, if we really understand the cost, it helps us to overcome. So if I can actually hear what God did for you, if I can respect your journey and not judge it because it's different from my journey. I can learn something. Or as the word puts it, I can overcome by the power of your testimony mixed with the blood of Christ. Now look at this. Are you with me? Okay, let me make it plainer. Okay, so look at this. If I want morning joy, then one of the first things I need to do is I need to sing to God. That's just what Psalms 30 says. And here's the thing. When you sing to God, do you know it is guaranteed if you sing from a sincere place, it's beautiful to God? Like when you sing to us, you got to like be on key and come from a sincere place. But when you sing to God, all that matters is the condition of your heart. So when you're fighting for your morning joy, an action that you get to take, have you ever sang when your heart was low? Right? Right. Now, I'm going to be really honest. When my heart was low, I always picked music to match where I was. I am not going to say these artists' names because they did great work. I just can't stay in that place. Right? So when you are low, if you will pick up a song to God that matches where you want to be and not where you are on your way to morning joy. Have you ever noticed what an exercise in faith that is? Because somebody change your music, you'd be like, I want to play what I want to play. Then you got two choices. Do you want to play what you want to play? Or do you want healing? And then you decide. And if you choose healing, then according to Psalms 30 and 4, then you have to sing to God. You have to pick the stuff that is going to heal your heart even before it's healed. This is how you find morning joy. He says, that's the second thing. He says you have to remember his name. Okay? So in this verse, when you remember the name of God, right, that's Yahweh, that name specifically. And the reason why we get clear is throughout the Bible, it will say the Lord, but then people who dig, you know, back then, if you had a title, you carried the name the Lord. But if you look at the root Hebrew, when it says the Lord and it says Yahweh, we're talking about a specific name of God. So he's saying, I want you to sing to him, right? I want you to remember his name, where it means that even though you are in a dark place, you are remembering, well, God is Yahweh, right? And in order for it to have value, you have to know that Yahweh means power. So that means that even though I feel weak right now, God is my power. So when you say Yahweh, that's what you're saying. Or when you simply quote that verse, that's what you're saying. That God is my power. You're saying that God is, look, it means the proper name of God, right? His one of the one true God. So when you use that name or you quote that verse, you're showing respect. You're saying, regardless of what's going on, my respect still belongs to God. I understand that I am not in this by myself. God is right here. And I'm tagging him in. When you are at your weakest, I am weak. I look like I'm losing. Listen, talk to him. God, what are you going to do? They promised me morning joy, right? Because I put it on. I'd be like, you had your prophet to say it. You had your son to say it. You had your warrior to say it. I want it. So show me how to get there. Look, when you say Yahweh or when you quote that verse, Yahweh means knowledge, and the use of his name implies a personal relationship. So whenever you confess this, you are confessing an intimacy between you and God. Do you know some of you, your biggest struggle is that you just don't, you know him in a very surface level. And I don't mean surface like we in public. I mean surface like your mama like God and you like your mama, so you kind of like God. I mean that kind of stuff. I mean a family surface level. So if you would go deeper with him, because he understands the way you talk, the way you feel, and what you've been through. If you will go deeper with him, then there is morning joy for you too. So be clear. Hey God, this lady keeps saying to come and talk to you. Start where you are. You do not have to sound like the way I sound. I'm a poet, so I like all of the words. You don't have to sound like that. Right? You just have to be willing to understand your strength is not enough. I'm going to put God's strength on me. Right? Your covering, that's on God. Once you accept him, your covering, that's on God. So when you are uncovered, you get to go back to God. Hey, how am I supposed to get this done? Okay, look at this. Look at this. What's in there? Yahweh means this name pictures God as the one who exists and the one who causes existence. So just by saying the name, you're literally saying, you made me. You made everything around me, and you are. You are real. So when you call that, so he's telling you your joy is tied to you singing to him. Your joy is tied to you remembering his name. You need to remember who you're running with. Y'all ever been on a team? And you know when you're on a team, the team has a name, the team has colors, right? So if your colors are blue and gold, and this is your teammate, when they get to the city for you to compete, if they put on red and white and play on the other side, how you feel about them? That mess is twisted. Like, you don't consider them to be a teammate. Like, you're not even trying to deal with them. See, whenever we call Yahweh, we're literally acknowledging this is the team I'm on. Hello, hello. Okay. This is the team I'm on. And you are acknowledging that God, I ride with you. And here's the thing, it makes you like Job. I'm still with you. Right? No, I won't curse your name and die. I'm going to hold on to your name and I'm going to live in spite of what it looks like. Now, look at this last part right here. He says, give him thanks. So you're not just singing to him and you're not just remembering his name, but you're literally thanking God. Do you know morning joy is tied to your ability to remember that it wasn't all always bad? It's tied to your ability to thank God for what you do have. You see how this keeps coming up this Christmas season? Over and over and over again. All I can do is bring you what he gives me to bring you. It is really important to God that you count the blessings that you always have because you have to understand that counting those blessings are like a ladder and a bridge to more blessings. So whenever we get a little bit, and then do not pause to rejoice in that little bit, we are always, we want more, we want more, we want more. We'll start to sound like a spoiled kid who doesn't even understand what they already have. But when you understand what you already have, when you don't understand, it's like you're clawing for things that are out of reach. When you do understand, when you thank God for that blessing, it's like it takes you up one more step. You see what I'm saying? And then you thank God for the next blessing and it takes you up another step. So now instead of you clawing for things that you can't touch, it's like you were designed to have it all the while just because you are thanking him. Thanking him is a ladder for you. So do not let anything trick you out of counting your blessings because when you thank him for the ones you already have, he uses them to get you to the next round. Okay, okay. Now, did you follow me on that one? Okay, okay. Now, look at this. If you're going to protect your joy, because we gave you two joys today, morning joy, and we gave you strong joy. And we were talking about the people who challenge you. Now, you know, Daddy broke down this long handle spoon, and we love it because it's a game changer. But I wanted to point something out. We hear these words in this church, and some of us are different level students. We just are. And I don't want you to think about what you did in high school. No, no, no. These are lessons that you can use every single week, which means you get to choose what kind of student you want to be. So this person here, they have a spoon. You know, the long handle spoon is designed to help you determine your relationship with people in your family who may or may not be good for you, right? So some of you, you're D students because you got a spoon, right? And this is what you put between you and that cousin with the bad idea. The one that helps you get too drunk, the one that helps you get too high. You know what I'm saying? The one that helps you get too, I won't, well, okay. But you know what I'm saying, right? Like, so this is, you got some distance, but it's not much. That's a D student. Now, some of y'all, you did a little better. You did a little better, right? So you a C student. I'm gonna say C minus.
You didn't even go for C, but you did better than them. And this is what messes us up. We will look at what other people's doing and compare ourselves to them and limit your life. Because if you compare yourself to them, you are literally 3 times better than they are. But I don't see in the word where God has us to do that. He has us to look to him. That's where our help comes from. So when you look to him, he's sharpening you. Okay, so you did a little better. Now look, you know that one, that B plus member in your family. They did good, right? Right? They gonna quit letting that ant that make them feel like dirt talk whisper in their ear. Because Auntie can't get no closer than this. You see what I'm saying? Because they got a longer handle on that spoon. I want you to remember this as you're walking through the holiday. Everybody can't be right here. They can't be up like that. Because you'll be sitting somewhere anxious, and it's not even your anxiety. You'll be somewhere angry, and it's not your anger. See, family can get you places that family will hold you down when nobody else will. And family can emotionally take you places that nobody else can. But whenever you start tapping into God's joy, you can start distinguishing which emotions belong to you, which emotions belong to mama in them. And it will set you free. You can still get to love mama in them, but when it comes to giving you advice, this is about as close as they can get. Right? Now listen, for my A students, because some of the people on the team are just on another level. Some of y'all got to be like, I ain't playing with y'all now. Because remember, the long handle spoon is designed to keep you from cussing them out, but to keep them from cursing your life. Right? So some of y'all, you need a little bit more. And remember, you get to be subtle with it. You just start right here. And the crazier they get, you just slowly. It's just quietly backing them up. It's just gracefully getting them off of you. And then daddy always gave y'all, go to the bathroom, go to the store, whatever it is. But I'm trying to tell y'all, some people are alive. You just have to know who you're dealing with if you're going to protect your joy. Right? I love this because he gave you a tool that will work and you don't have to disrespect the people that you love the most. But you don't have to let them keep disrespecting you. Amen. We're protecting our joy this holiday season because it's a gift from God. And what happens to you, it matters to God. You are not secondary to the rest of the family. To God, you're his number one. So let him love you. Let him heal you. Let him show you how to walk in his protection. Let him flood you with his joy.